Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. Six. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up, and let's go.
Happy Monday, world. What's going on? Welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Monday. It's the 9th of June. If you're listening on the radio stream at the rushradio.com or on the Rush Radio Android app, thank you for tuning in this morning. If you are watching on YouTube, good to have you here, playing along at home. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video and start leaving your comments. And, of course, you can follow us on our social media channels, which would be X, Facebook, and Instagram. Good morning, Ross Peterson. What's going on there, buddy?
Morning, bud. Morning. Happy Monday. How was the weekend?
Oh my God, it was a busy
Flew by
weekend.
Yeah,
busy weekend. I don't know if I've recovered, and it's just because I haven't stayed up so late. I haven't had to entertain so many people for a long time, and we had back-to-back parties. Of course, we'll get into the graduation party, which you came over for on Saturday, but yesterday. We also had Abigail's baby shower. So we went graduation party and then a completely different party, which I'm like, we cannot host it at the house. So we went out to my office. We have the big lounge area and they hosted a baby shower for Abigail. So Greta got to celebrate on Saturday. Abigail got to celebrate on Sunday. And last night we just decompressed. We went out to dinner as a family. And then I took the grandkids out to see grandma's home for the last time. So Abigail won't get to go back and Mary won't get to go back. It was funny. There were still some things in the house. Like, do you guys want anything? Like, no. Well, we're there for like 45 minutes to an hour, right? All of a sudden, well, I'll take this.
Yeah.
I'll take this. You know, so
it's funny. I think a lot of us have been through that process. We're going through grandma and grandpa's farm. A lot of us in Iowa, we're 2 generations removed from the farm. Most of us, our mom and dad grew up on the farm. Some of us grew up on the farm, or maybe it's a 3rd generation, but we remember going back to it. So a lot of us have been through that process. I have 2 mirrors in my bathroom back here that are exactly that way. We went up to the barn. I'm like, I don't think I'm not going to take anything. And you're there for a little while and you go, hey, I can hang that mirror. Yeah, take the mirror. Then grandma and grandpa would love it if you had the mirror. Man, the thing weighs 9,000 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, you noticed when you came over on Saturday, our garage door was shut. And the reason is, if you were to come by our house right now, you would think we were hoarders. You're like, oh, these people need some help. These people need some definite help. They're hoarding because there's no more room left in the garage.
You mean the garage looks like a hoarder?
Yes.
That's okay. Yes. That's okay.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's not preferable. I don't mean it that way. What I'm saying is, I think there are a lot of people that they unfortunately use their garage as just kind of a catch-all for that stuff, especially in these moments, Trev. Your house looked amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing. I know you're not going to like me saying this. I like the fence not being there.
You know what? You're not alone saying that. You're not alone in saying. Matter of fact, because the party ended at 9, which meant it ended at about midnight. And we were sitting on the back, and my boss was actually over, and we're sitting on the back patio porch, and he's like, "Dude, you don't put in a fence." He goes, "It's just wide open. It feels, even though that's not your yard over there." He goes, "It just feels like it's big."
I turned the corner. The realtor in my brain kicked on as soon as, because I got there, you weren't there, and so I just kind of made my way around the back of the house, and I turned that corner. I was like, "Oh, this looks great."
So maybe for the time being, we'll keep a fence out. So
do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Looked great. Family looked happy.
It saves me a lot of money if I don't put it in there. If I don't put a fence in, it saves me a lot of money. And you know me, I'm a cheap ass the way it is. So I'm like, okay, I'll save some money. But yeah, the party went really late. We polished off one keg. I got 2 kegs, right? And we polished off the lager. I thought the Fairy Nectar, which is kind of the signature beer of Cross Train Brewery, would have gone the fastest, but it was just the steady lager. You know, deep down, Ross, people can talk about craft beer and all the flavors. At the end of the day, people just like a beer, right? And I think
when you keep saying lager, I don't know what that means. I thought lager was just another name for beer.
Well, because we're dumb. Maybe on Thursday when Bruno comes on, we'll go, okay, what's an ale? I know what sour is. I know what a sour is.
And I know a pale ale. I know an IPA. When I drink it and I go, oh, that tastes hoppy.
Yeah. But otherwise, what's an ale?
When you say the word lager, is that just another word for beer? It's great to see everybody, Trav. Your family, dude, I walked around your house a little bit on Saturday and I wanted to take a video standing in your kitchen because I talk to people all the time about it. And it was just neat to see your whole family back together. You've done such a great job, man. Your kids are awesome. They're fun to be around. And your home is just such a cool home. It really is. It feels like a home. You walk in there, it's warm, it's inviting. Everybody is welcoming. So good job, man. You've really done well.
I was impressed. We didn't know we made 2 briskets and 4 pork shoulders, and we added, it was like 63 pounds of meat. Okay? It was all gone. There was no leftover meat. So all the brisket was gone. All the pulled pork was gone. We had no food left.
I turned the corner. Your Traeger was rolling. You had a brisket in your Traeger.
I had a brisket in my Traeger. Owen had 2 Traegers going at his house. He had another full brisket, and then he had 4 pork shoulders going at his house. And he's like a food scientist. He's one of these guys that like studies food and the perfect way to. So all of a sudden he was like, okay, when it hits 205, we're going to wrap it in this parchment paper. And then we're going to wrap that in tinfoil. And then we're going to wrap that in a towel. And we're going to put that in a cooler. And so we put it in like a Yeti for like another 2 hours. And we were going to have sliced brisket. Oh, when we took it out, it became pulled brisket because it was just so tender. So we had shredded brisket. We had pulled pork. And it was a good time. It was a really good time. And I appreciate you coming in. Ross had to MC a thing for East the other night. So he came over early and left early. So he didn't get to be there for the whole party. But
I wasn't even there for the party, unfortunately. But it was great. Dude, I will tell you, for the first time in my life, I hate Omaha. Yep. For the first time in my life, I hate Omaha.
Is the construction?
Dude, getting out of your fucking town. Unfreaking real, man. It literally did take me. I got home probably 45 minutes later than I'd planned on getting home.
Really?
I swear to God. It took well, first of all, own fault. I did miss like 2, you know what I mean? Your interstates do this. Why do your interstates do this?
Because we're a big city. Didn't you see the skyscraper going up? We got a big skyscraper going up.
I couldn't take my eyes off the road. I was watching the map and doing this, and I seriously did. I wanted to stop. I had one little stop I wanted to make on the way out of town because I had to take off before the brisket was ready to go. Right. Yeah. So I was going to stop at like Freddy's. I wanted to stop at some fast food place I don't have in Des Moines. So I saw Freddy's frozen custards or something like that. I'm like, I'll get a burger.
They have Freddy's in Des Moines, don't they?
No, they got one in Ames.
Okay.
Maybe there's one. Maybe they've built one here in the metro that I don't know about. But anyway,
I'm a big Freddy's guy.
I thought that'd be the place to stop. It'll add 3 minutes to your drive. Perfect. Click. I missed a turn, hit some construction. It literally was awful. And I was cussing you. This fucking town. This is Travis's fault.
See, this is what happens when you become fixated on a Google map and a map.
I know. Right, and dude, honestly, I should have just, you're right. You're right.
But at the end of the
user
day,
error.
I can navigate because I know the town, right? If I was in Des Moines, that same thing happened to me. I'd be like, where am I going?
True.
What am I doing?
And by the way, Omaha got nothing on Kansas City. Kansas City makes no sense.
That's true.
So yes, Saturday went well, and then Sunday, I got to tell you about some amazing. Do we have a few minutes here? Because
can I tell everybody how I peed on your parade, and then you go into this story? So I'm sitting at the baby shower yesterday. I'm down in the lobby of my work, and I get a text, ding, ding, and it's like Ross Peterson. He's like, dude, I just hit a shot where I was 1 inch from a hole-in-one. I could feel Ross's excitement coming through the text message. I could picture him on the green, ecstatic, knowing that he just tapped in for birdie. And he's high-fiving his buddies. He's having the time of his life. Probably took a shot of Jägermeister after that. He was so excited. So I'm sitting there going, how can I mess this up for him? How can I ruin Ross's day?
You knew how.
So I text back. I go, so you're texting me just to tell me you did, and I put in all caps, not get a hole-in-one. And I just left it lay there. I just left it. I said, okay.
That was the last communication we had all weekend. That was it.
Yeah.
I left. Yep. I saw that. No.
And then you laugh because only Travis would do that. Only Travis.
Most beautiful 7-9 I've ever hit in my life. I'm back, baby. I'm at that point in my game where I go from quitting the game to I should probably try to get a card. And I'm still, if I break 90, I'm doing cartwheels. Like that's a really good day of consistent ball striking for me.
With that birdie yesterday, it wasn't even an eagle. I mean, you just got a birdie.
Yeah.
I mean, did you break 90 yesterday?
I don't know. And I was playing best ball with Bill Blank. It was Bill Blank and I versus his two buddies. They play every Sunday. And I get invited every now and again to be the fourth. And Bill and I, we were playing best ball. But yeah, beautiful. Here's the problem with it. So we're pulling up onto this green. It's now number 12 at Toad Valley. It used to be the second hole. It's a par 3, but it's uphill, Travis. And then the green is kind of slopes back. So you cannot see the pin. You can see the flag stick, but you can't see the surface of the green. So you're kind of blind hitting it up there. And the last couple of times I've played with Bill, he's told me the story. We pull up on it. He's like, hey, my buddy has hit a hole-in-one on this hole, and you can't see it. Like, you just know it's a good shot on the green, and you're like, hey, nice shot. Well, then you drive up there, and you go, I think it's in the cup. So you don't have that wow moment. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't that suck? I mean, a hole-in-one's a hole-in-one. You're going to celebrate no matter what. But if I ever, and I probably never will, hit a hole-in-one, I want to see said hole-in-one.
Yeah.
I want to follow the ball in the air, watch it hit the green, go into the cup.
Yes. Yeah, and this green does not allow you to do that. So when I hit mine, it was I mean, I hit it and it was like, oh, that's right at it. Like, man, that felt good. Lands soft and it rolled, and the guys just looked at me and said, that's kind of what his looked like. That might be in the cup. Sitting on the lip. Missed it. So I haven't told you this fun thing that happened yesterday, okay? Because this is the absolute highlight of my day, many other days. This was really cool, what I saw. You know, I love human things.
You do.
Love them. I love...
Much more than I do. Much more than I do. Me and humans don't get along.
Dude, I saw the manna yesterday from heaven.
Was she hot?
So no, listen. This is so cool what I saw. Got a text as I was wrapping up golf that my girlfriend Courtney, her son plays baseball and was going to be playing against Mark Charter's son, Seton, up in Ankeny. So I thought I had about a half hour of window in my day. I thought I'll drive up there and watch a couple innings of baseball, an inning of baseball, and hang out with Courtney and get to see Mark and haven't seen Seton play in a couple years. That'll be fun. I got to see 4 or 5 at-bats. Got there, the home team ends their inning. Visiting team comes up to start the top of the inning. Seton's going to be hitting second in that inning. So I'm sitting with Courtney along the first base side. Mark is along the third base line watching his son. His son Seton comes up, and in that at bat, Seton uncorks his very first home run.
Oh, really?
Dude. Seton is a really good ball player. He's a left-handed hitter. And a couple of years ago, he's on a really good baseball team. A couple of years ago, Mark was kind of concerned, like, man, his hitting isn't quite at the level of the rest of some of the boys on the team, and wondering if he had him at the right level. That whole thing that parents go through, right? But
I never went through that, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, but Seton's a really good athlete. And they stuck with it, kept working hard, has improved, has become one of the better hitters on his team, as far as from what I can see. And then yesterday, to be able to stand there, so Seton hits it, ball's flying into right center, it flies over the fence and hits there's a electric transformer back there, and it bounced off of that. And my eyes turned to Mark, and man, to see my buddy, a guy I love, like that moment. Watching his son, his dad is sitting next to him. His dad, Jim, is to his right.
Now, how old of a kid is he? Is this like 12, 13 years old?
13, 14. So this is a big field. I mean, this isn't a little league home run. Not to diminish those. Those are great. Those are a first home run's a first home run. When Eli hit his, my dad was sitting next to me. Memory I'll never, ever, ever forget. Favorite home run ever. Watching Seton hit that one and seeing my buddy Mark jump against the fence and. Yeah, that was neat.
When it comes to sports experiences, okay, especially for your kids.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be the same for everybody. But, what's a better thrill? Is it the time your kid scores his first touchdown, if he is good enough to play quarterback or running back? Is it that first home run? Is it the first soccer goal? I'm sure it's different for everybody. Because if you have a multi-sport athlete, it gives you a little more perspective. I think I'll remember when Owen hit his first home run. He happened to be like 8 years old, and then it was a small thing, but kids weren't hitting home runs there.
Doesn't. That's what I say. I didn't mean to diminish it by saying little league home run. This was a big boy home run, but the little league home runs are little league home runs, man.
Yes,
we all remember the kids that hit home runs.
You're like, wow, how did you do that, man? You're the next Aaron Judge.
My buddy Todd Elder hit a home run when we were 11. We thought he was Babe Ruth. We were like, you're going to hit home runs forever now.
It'd be fun to talk to like Caitlin Clark's parents and go, what? You've seen so many great moments, but what was it that you went, oh my God?
That would be a fun one.
Yeah. I mean,
we have a lot of people that are listening whose kids were multi-sport athletes. I'm with you, Travis. As you went through those, I was thinking, well, you'd remember each one of those. You'd remember your kid's first goal. But
one has to stick out more than others.
You're right.
You're right. It might be your favorite sport. Say you got a hockey player. I mean, you're like, oh my God, look at that stick work. But sometimes you score a goal, in Little League hockey where you've got Goldberg as your goalie, right? So it's like, there's got to be those moments.
I'm with you. I bet there is. You saw them make a play or something, and you looked at your wife and went, "Did you see that?"
Yeah. Do you have one for Eli?
It's his first home run. But as you said that, Travis, I remember the first time he won a wrestling match. The first wrestling match he ever won, he only won because the other kid kept locking his hands. The other kid, they
got penalized.
Yeah, they kept warning him and warning him and warning him. And finally, like, we got to give a point to this kid. And they're like, raise Eli's hands. He's like, what? He was like 9. So that was that first pin, the first time because the pin, I remember Eli wanted like wrestling shoes, or he wanted something, wanted a bag.
Oh, I remember this. You made a promise to like, if you do this, I'm going to buy you like these $400 pair of wrestling shoes.
It wasn't 400, but they were
exaggerating for effect. Yeah. But you know what? Because I remember you came. We were doing sound off the next day, and you come in and go, "I gotta buy some wrestling shoes." I promised the kid wrestling shoes.
He knew. He like looked at me in the stands. He won that match. He pinned that kid. He was like looking at me as they raised his hand, like, shoes. Those moments stand out, man. So to see that yesterday, that's what I'll remember. Yeah. Got to go over then and, give Mark a high five and shake Jim's hand. But just you couldn't have wiped the smile off my face yesterday after seeing that. That was super duper cool.
Yeah, I mean, what a day. You come 1 inch from hitting a hole in one, which is a birdie, and then you go watch a kid hit a home run. His first home run ever.
I mean, when you put it that way, it really wasn't that great of a weekend, was it? So you got a birdie and your friend's kid hit a home run?
And your friend's kid hit a home run.
Cool.
See, that's where you and I are so different. So different. And the fact that you do enjoy people so much that you enjoy their success much more than you enjoy your own, right? And I'm the exact opposite. I'll be like, oh, that's good. That's good. Congrats. Wish that was my kid. You know, that envy sets in. It's like, oh, man, why that kid? Why couldn't it have been my kid? Why couldn't it have been Courtney's kid to hit the home run?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to you about this, dude. That I don't know who put this in my head about envy and jealousy and, to be envious of somebody just means you want to be with them. Man, I want to enjoy this moment with you. Jealous is I wish I were enjoying this instead of you. And I go, no, don't do that. You wish you were there with somebody. You know what I mean? And you can do that. You can. It's super easy to watch somebody and go, whoa, hey, that human being's having a moment there. That's really
now the
neat.
big question: did they go get the baseball so the kid can have the baseball?
The ball got back to Mark before I did, and I just had to walk around the backstop. The ball was back. They had it back in the dugout over the top of the fence to Mark before I got over there.
Because I'd have been the dad like marching out. Who got the ball? Because I'm going to kick some ass if you don't give me the ball. And I'm not paying for it. You're going to give me the ball.
Really good job of that, dude. And that was last weekend. Eli had a buddy that hit Eli's buddy Jensen hit his first home run last week. And it's just you know what I mean? As a parent, it's cool for the kid. As a parent, it's cool for the parents.
Oh, 100% it's cool for the parents.
To see that parent go like, they've worked hard at this.
I will tell you, and I don't think I'm alone here. If you're a parent listening to the show, I'd love to hear your feedback on it. But humble, I'm not bragging here. But I went to a really small school, right? I mean, I had some pretty good athletic success and successes in my life. From radio and television to, I was lucky enough to play 5 sports in high school, won a state championship in 1987 as a courtesy runner. But anyway, it was, I've had success. Everything my kids have done, I've enjoyed so much more than anything I did. Right? Anything that my kids have done. When Owen takes the stage, it's like, oh my God. When, I could go through every one of my kids. I've enjoyed those successes much more than I enjoyed my own.
What is that? Travis, because when I watch Eli, right, same thing. Eli goes out to the wrestle. One of the things that goes in my head is, I never had the guts to do that. You had the guts to go out and get on stage and do that. But there's something I've been with you when no one goes on stage. I feel that come off of you, that feeling of pride. And again, it's not jealous. It's not like, oh man, I wish I was up there instead of him, or even I wish I was up there with him. It's a totally different. It's a pride. And
I don't want to feel like I'm, separating my kids up, because to me they're all wonderful. But I just stood. So we made an art gallery from Greta's artwork this weekend. And I just sat there and looked at it going, she did this all in 4 years. She didn't know how to draw when she went to school. And you're just sitting there going, wow, that's really cool. Your back breezeway looked like an art gallery.
Yes. I told you this story, but this is so funny. Greta has all these amazing awards, and she's like setting up all of her stuff and her pictures. And we're out there setting, and Mary's helping her, and Mary goes, gee, I think this is really cool that you got all this stuff. And Greta goes, oh, yeah, when we did your party, where did you set up all of your awards? And Mary goes, yeah, I didn't get any of this. I didn't have any of these.
And Greta thought she meant you just didn't put them out.
Yeah, yeah. Greta's like, where did you guys put these on your graduation party? She goes, I didn't have any of these.
My kids and their sense of humor.
They're great, man. You did well, buddy. So anyway, that was my fun weekend.
And that's awesome. We both had good weekends, and we got good news to report. Of course, I'm heading out of town after the show, but we are taken care of for the rest of the week because I invested in Starlink, ladies and gentlemen, a mini Starlink. And so Ross and I, whenever we go anywhere in the world now, we can just take the Elon Musk Starlink satellite dish, point it at the sky, and go live from anywhere in the world, which is really, really cool. And I tested it last night, good Wi-Fi signal. So all I have to do is set the dish out and go. And I was
love
thinking,
it.
What an amazing thing, right? I mean, remember when you first got the internet, you had to dial into a modem, and then it became, and even today, it's still, you got to have like wires going into your house or something like that. This literally is putting what looks like a plate. I mean, when you see this, and it's an expensive but cheap piece of hardware.
It's just a piece of plastic.
That's all it is.
What's inside the plastic?
I have no idea, because it's super light, and you're
the
like,
important stuff.
What's inside there that just beams up and gets these satellites? But depending, I don't care what you think about Elon Musk. You either love him, you hate him, whatever. The dude owns space because he has like 8,000 satellites up there, hoping to get 30. But the fact that you can just put a plate down on the ground, point it at the air, and have high-speed internet in a snap of your fingers is incredible. And so we'll be live from Fort Robinson tomorrow, where Crazy Horse was killed.
And this is the beginning. Because in a month, I'm going to be live in Canada from Lake of the Woods. You're going to watch the sunrise over the Lake of the Woods behind me. Like this, that was another exciting part. Saturday, I'm driving, and all of a sudden I got a text that said, we're going global. I'm like, what? And then it was the picture of the Starlink. Yeah.
Right. Starlink.
Hey,
watch, it won't work tomorroh. Yeah. I'll get there plugged in. I'm like, where are the satellites at?
Like, you got to be in Australia to use the Starlink right now.
515-517-2303.
Real quick, did you see our buddy Jason Boffman wrote in, good morning from my new home in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Wow.
Here's what he wrote here. Okay, congratulations, Jason. Way to get new locations. I looked up Thibodaux, where that is. Holy cow, is that a cool little spot. He is in the bayou, dude.
So he's probably got gators. He's got snakes. He's got all sorts of things.
He's right between something called the Abbey Plantation and the Bayou Country Club.
Is that a highfalutin area?
I don't think so. I mean, the Bayou Country Children's Museum's right there, so there's stuff to do for the children's.
And I believe it's Thibodaux. It's not Thibodaux. I know it's got the T. It's part of a George Strait song. So if you
really,
yeah.
Well, George Strait does have a bajillion songs, so
yes,
you can't fault me for that.
Yes. 515-517-2303. That is the number to call if you want to chime in with us. Don't forget to try out some Coca-Cola Orange Cream. Coca-Cola Orange Cream is a novel twist on a timeless classic. Brings together two iconic flavors. It's been my wife's and Greta's favorite. It's outstanding, and you can get it at any one of your local stores, and it's from Atlantic Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Again, that's Coca-Cola Orange Cream. You won't be disappointed in the taste. It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vent, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
The Royal Mile, where everyone's a wee bit British. The Royal Mile is downtown Des Moines' living room with classic pub favourites. Pair them with a glass of whiskey or an expertly poured Guinness. It's bloody brilliant. The Royal Mile, a proper British pub.
There's always something new at Fong's Pizza. The patio is open and ready for you, your friends, and an ever-changing menu of tiki drinks. Or try our new noodle dishes alongside your favorite slice. It's all happening this summer at the new Fong's in the East Village.
Thinking about buying a home? Get pre-approved in 30 minutes with Gary Presnell at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. Gary offers first-time home buyers programs, VA, FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High-quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
So, you're driving along the road and minding your own business when a thought pops into your head.
When's the last time I had my alignment checked?
You know it's important. Poor alignment can impact your tire wear, your grip on the road, and even your gas mileage. But just as your mind starts to ache and the sweat starts to pool around your lower back, you remember, I service my car at Willis Cadillac in Clive, Iowa, and they check the alignment for free with the purchase of any service. And the serenity of that thought frees you once again. Give us a call or head online to williscadillac.com to schedule your appointment today.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
The best bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show. Happy Monday, everybody. We got a busy hour number 2 coming up. Brian Harden, athletic director at Drake University, going to join us at 7 o'clock. Of course, the House settlement was settled on Friday night. Kind of a weird time to release a ruling, but as we've come to learn, expected out of that judge. But Brian Harden is going to join us. Now, it would be easy to have, a Beth Getz on or Jamie Pollard, but let's be honest. For the big boys, it benefits them. The House settlement is going to have a huge effect on schools like Drake University. And we'll get into that. We'll talk about the House settlement even this half hour. But just to let you know, Brian Harden going to join us at 7 o'clock. Then at 7:30, Brian Duax from Central City Liquors is going to be joining us. And yes, we're going to be talking about Central City Liquors because they're a sponsor. But they've got a really cool, I don't want to give it away yet, but they got a really cool thing that's going to start at Central City Liquors or has started that makes you just want to go down and hang out and like wait all day. Just wait all day. You're like, what are you doing today, honey? I'm just going to go wait at Central City Liquors.
It's a pretty cool promotion. We'll just say that. Yeah.
It's a really cool promotion. And we'll get an update on when our single barrel Knob Creek bourbon should be in the stores. Hopefully end of July, first part of August, we hope to see that. We'll let you know that. But again, Brian Harden at 7 o'clock, Brian Duax at 7:30. Last night, NBA playoffs, Oklahoma City beat Indiana 123-107. Tyrese Halliburton had an okay game, but wasn't one of those factor games. You know, he didn't really – it was like the magic wasn't there last night. But
I think last night is what a lot of people expected to see throughout this series. Oklahoma City's dude. They're solid. They're in the NBA Finals. They have the NBA MVP. They're good. This is why the Pacers. Last night was an example of why the Pacers were the underdog that they were, and why Game 1 was an upset.
You know, the crazy thing is, and it hasn't been talked about, at least on this show very much, is I believe for the 7th year in a row, we're going to have a team that has never won an NBA title. So
that can't. No. 7th year.
No. So we haven't had a repeat in 7 years. So we haven't had a repeat, but you're going to have two teams that have never won an NBA title. Or no, the Pacers won an ABA title. They never won an NBA title.
There you go.
And then the Thunder have been close as well, but have never won an NBA title. So you're going to have a new champion this year, but you haven't had you've had a new champion, I think, every year the last 7 years, which, you know, if you think in the day and the age of the super teams, and we've seen super teams be put together, that you would have repeat champions or dynasties, and it just hasn't happened. Is that analytics? I mean, because you and I have talked about this. We can name players on the Pacers because we've paid more attention this year. But with the Thunder, can you, besides SGA, can you go deep? I can't. And I don't watch a lot of NBA. I'm full disclosure. And you guys who listen to the show understand that we don't watch a lot of NBA. But it's not a super team by any means.
I think that it's just that talent pool is so freaking deep, dude. It's that way in college basketball, and I think that once you get to the NBA, and you have that international pool to choose from. The talent pool is so deep. You get the right chemistry, you get the right group of guys. Is it good for the league? It seems like it's good for the league to have this parity and have, we always, there's all these cliches that exist, right, Trav? Baseball is better when the Yankees and Dodgers are good. The NBA is better when the Lakers and Celtics. Like, we have this cliche in our head of, well, when the Dallas Cowboys, when the biggest brands are good, that's good for the league. When there's dynasties, that's good for the league, right? When there's a dynasty, we
Golden
all
State,
start to watch the Bulls and the Golden State Warriors, but then maybe it's just got to cycle. Maybe it just has to. We get sick of one. Familiarity breeds contempt.
It does.
And you watch it and you go, okay, we haven't seen a dynasty in a while, so let's get excited about a dynasty. Okay, I'm sick of watching this team win all the time. Now let's watch somebody new win. All right, I'm sick of watching new teams win. Now let's watch the same team win. Are we just in that mode right now of we saw dynasties for a while? I don't know. My gut my instinct is, well, this is the byproduct of the talent pool, the international talent pool for basketball being so unbelievably large.
Well, and that's probably, it's the Jordan, Kobe, LeBron effect, right? In the fact that they motivated these international players to up their game. And the NBA now is talking about expansion again. It hasn't expanded since 2004 when Charlotte got its team back. Now, Seattle, obviously, one of those cities that's being considered. Las Vegas, also one of those cities that is being considered. But you just brought up the international talent pool. I think I saw a stat the other day that 30% of the NBA is made up of international players now. Seems right. Start going, when do you go global? I mean, when, Canada doesn't count in my book because that's
for teams. When do you put a team in Mexico City, Canada? But when you say global, you mean Europe?
I'm talking Europe.
Dude, I don't know that you do that. I mean,
not yet.
I think what you probably do, what I was going to say is I think you probably just subsidize leagues in those countries. But you don't want to do that because then you're going to siphon off. You want the NBA to be the bottom of the funnel. You want all the talent to concentrate to the NBA. And if you start to subsidize leagues in other countries and build up those leagues, you're building your enemy. You're building a group that's going to eventually say, oh, Dirk, you don't need to go play for Dallas. You can just stay home. You can make as much money here. And that NBA wouldn't want that. Dude from Iowa said least watched NBA finals in Nielsen history.
And
I believe
there's a reason behind that. It's because it's Indiana and Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
You're taking major markets TV-wise out of the – I mean, nobody in Boston is interested in Indiana and Oklahoma City. Nobody in Los Angeles is interested in Indiana and Oklahoma City. So you're not wrong there. And we joke about that in baseball. You could put any sport behind it. Well, maybe not the NFL. People are always going to watch the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl is it's an event. It's
and we say always, but someday.
But when you put a best of 7 series together and it's 2 small market teams, there's going to be a demographic of the country that's just not interested in it. Now, the NBA ratings have been down anyway, but you throw Indiana and Oklahoma City into the mix, doesn't mean it's not. You can have 2 things can be true at the same time, right? And that is, it's the least watched NBA finals in Nielsen history. Down 19% from last year. Doesn't mean the series can't be spectacular, though, right? I mean, 2 things can be true at the same time. If you're not watching, you're missing out. But fans are fans. And if you're in Boston, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in New York, you're like, why do I want to watch? I mean, does that make sense? I mean,
and Travis, it's not. It's so weird that it somehow seems to boil down to that actual thing of which city is it. You have star power here. We've talked about it. Or are we being the Tyrese Halliburton story? Let's talk about that for a second, because what I was about to say is you've got star power in this. You have the MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. He's the best player in the league this year. Tyrese Halliburton is the one I want to talk about for a second. Is he as popular nationwide as we think he is here in Iowa?
I think it's going to take another year or 2 to make him like that national star, because it's just now that the national pundits are going, oh, this guy's a difference maker, right? It's like now people are jumping on the Tyrese Halliburton bandwagon because he's been able to consistently do it over this playoff. I don't think he's gotten the love year round like maybe he should have, and therefore wasn't that well talked about. But he's doing a great job himself of promoting himself. I mean, going on McAfee show is smart. I mean, and how personable he is on there, and then going out and just destroying teams at times makes him must-watch television. But I think you're onto something in that we kind of prop him up bigger because of the local tie to it.
Yeah. You've got Chet Holmgren. I mean, it's maybe the 3rd biggest name in the finals. So you don't have huge star. There's no Steph. There's no LeBron. There is no super duper star. We've talked about how Tyrese Halliburton's on that trajectory and right on that, nibbling on the edges of that superstardom. SGA is more of like a, who would you compare him to? More like a Tim Duncan. Not even Tim Duncan.
Unassuming?
Great word for it. Great word for it. Unassuming. He just doesn't seem like that guy that's wants to be the superstar media guy, which is okay. That's totally fine.
I mean, you bring up Tim Duncan. I mean, think about the championships he's won, the teams that were on with the Spurs, and he was unassuming.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Hall of Famer, one of the greats.
But just unassuming.
Yeah.
So that series is tied at 1 game apiece, heading to Indianapolis and to play Indiana for the next one. Again, the Pacers have got one on the road. So they, as Halliburton said, they were playing with house money in game 2. But there's no such thing as home court advantage anymore. I'm convinced in any sport. It used to be, you're playing at home, you're going to win. Now it's just like it's just going to be a burner every night. 7 of the 8.
Real quick, I know you said it there right at the end. Did you say game 3 is Wednesday night?
No, I think is it Wednesday? Or it's either tomorrow or Wednesday.
See, for some reason, okay, the NBA schedule is showing Wednesday night.
Yeah,
so
I didn't say Tuesday. I knew. I just said it was going to be.
I thought you said Wednesday, but it threw me off because I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, Wednesday night, game 3. Sorry.
7 of the 8 college baseball teams are headed to Omaha. There's only one team left to play to get in. That'll be played tonight, winner take all between Duke and Murray State. Duke and Murray State.
Murray State's a baseball school. Duke's a baseball school.
Apparently, who would have thought Duke or Murray State would be battling for the College World Series?
This has been a wild run to get this far. And Travis, a lot of people are, using this as a way to kind of question the metrics of college baseball. To look at this, go, wait, we were all told that this was a done deal, that all of these top teams were the best teams in the world, and now all of a sudden Murray State and Duke are playing for a shot in the College World Series.
I mean, the SEC had 8 of the 16 top seeds. I think they got 13 total teams in the tournament. Only two made it to Omaha. And that would be Arkansas, which Kyle Peterson from ESPN was on the show at that time, said he thought was the best team in the country. And they probably had the toughest super regional. They beat Tennessee 2 games. They smacked them around yesterday. Saturday was actually a close game. LSU is also going. Other teams in the College World Series, Arizona, Oregon State. Without a conference, Oregon State makes the College World Series. Coastal Carolina is in the College World Series. LSU, as I mentioned, Louisville, and UCLA. UCLA made the College World Series.
Big Ten, baby.
There it is.
Big Ten baseball.
That's right. The Big Ten is representing the College World Series.
Yeah. So Travis, you've been following this closer than I have. Have any of those experts, like as Kyle Peterson or any of those other college baseball experts, kind of been called to the carpet for some of that SEC bias? And I want to be careful here because I'm just kind of assuming that some people online have been coming after it.
Well, everybody's going to do that, but you've been around baseball to know when you're playing a series. I mean, baseball's baseball, right? I mean, you look at Nebraska won the Big Ten tournament, beat UCLA, and got beat in the region.
Yeah, right. It's good for a trophy in the case.
Yeah, but I think if you look, nobody's going to argue. I don't think people should be able to argue, but over the course of an entire season, I believe the SEC is the best baseball league there is, and the best teams are in baseball are in the SEC. But when you get in tournament play,
my argument would just be that what we were told, and I'm just what we were told by Kyle and by other experts was the reason that the SEC is the best is because look at their strength of schedule. They play each other.
Yeah.
And via playing each other, their strength of schedule is way up here because they play each other. And you guys play each other.
Well, Murray State's playing the Missouri Valley Conference, and
when you play each other, it's down here. But when they play each other, it's up here. But when these two teams play each other, these teams are better. These teams not because what we were told was that there's actually a giant chasm of gap. There's a huge gap between the goods and the bads. And you guys are going to see this. I mean, the SEC is going to run roughshod, and you guys all see this. Well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And so all their justification for the SEC is the top teams in this on this metric because they play each other. And the SEC teams are the best teams, and so therefore they play each other and they play against the best teams. That's why people for years have been saying, oh, wait. How do the little dudes ever make a stand here if this is the way? And then even when they win, it's like, well, yeah, but it's baseball. I'm just saying, it's just an interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
College World Series gets started on Friday. If you're listening in central Iowa or in Iowa, it's a pretty easy drive to Omaha. The stadium's right on the river. Pretty easy to park, pretty easy to get tickets.
Just getting out of town sucks.
Just getting out of town sucks. You're right. The traffic is really, really bad. But it'd be interesting, and we're going to talk to Brian Harden, athletic director at Drake, here in about 10 minutes about, what happens now that the House settlement is agreed upon to some of these schools like a Murray State, like a Coastal Carolina, who won't have the athletic budgets, or the money, should we say, to compete at Iowa, Iowa State, Arkansas, LSU. The money's not going to be a problem for these teams. What does this House settlement do when you go from, okay, you can spend $20.5 million, and over the next 10 years, that salary cap is going to increase. They believe by the end of the 10 years, Ross, that line item on the Excel spreadsheet for athletic budgets is going to be around $30 million of distribution of money. And, Pat Forty from SI.com wrote an article this weekend about what happens to the Olympic sports, like swimming, and now that the NCAA is not in charge of disciplinary action, they're only going to be part of the academics, and they've kind of set the rules here. When do these guys get together and say, we don't need to have the minimum 15 sports? Because right now, to be NCAA Division I, you got to have those 15 sports out there. When do the big boys go, we're not going to do it? They can be club sports.
Travis, yes. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly. I've been saying that for a long time. That's where I think that's where this goes. NCAA has this happens. They've worn out their usefulness. That's it. That's the best way to say it. And there's better ways ahead. And I think that they're going to figure that out. There's a lot that you said there, man. That $30 million, it's not an income issue. We're going to be told by all of these institutions it's an income issue.
It's an expense issue.
It's an expense issue.
It's cash flow.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's the word. There you go.
And when you spend equal amount of money on travel, recruiting, facilities, that does add up. You're like, where does $200 million go? Well, when you pay everybody, and when you have to fund travel for your gymnastics team, your softball team, your field hockey team, that starts to add up. Hotel rooms, all that. It adds up. And then you go, why are we doing this? We're spending, because it's believed that most schools are going to spend 90% of that $20.5 million in year one on football. And then probably men's basketball and women's basketball gets the next 10%, maybe 15%.
Yeah.
So it'll be, but what happens to a school like Drake? And we're going to ask Brian Harden that, okay? Now that this thing's settled, you technically can go spend $20.5 million on basketball, because that's really your main sport. They don't have $20.5 million to spend.
Right.
And now that you have to run individual NIL deals, anything over $600 have to go through Deloitte. My question is this: does a point guard at Iowa State have more value than a point guard at Drake? So the
answer is yes, by the way, unfortunately, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And so how do you protest that? How do you say, hold on, you're giving a point guard who's maybe not a big name at Iowa State, you're going to approve a $20,000 deal, but you won't approve a $5,000 deal at Drake. And what's your recourse for that? And what happens?
And who's making that decision at Deloitte? And who's influencing those decisions?
Yes.
And who's paying the bill? There's definitely a follow the money game that needs to be played here.
And the way it's set up now is that these athletes are not employees of the university, which, since they're not employees, does not allow them to collective bargain. So the big question is, how long until a lawsuit is filed from a
T-minus seconds?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you think the courts are over with this yet, they're just beginning, because you've got employee rights, you've got Title IX issues you got to deal with, you've got a whole bunch of stuff, and then what happens to the small universities?
And lots of stuff there. Again, Travis, I'm telling you, the Title IX thing is one we're going to have a huge conversation about Title IX, and I think it'll turn out to be a lot like COVID. At the end of it, we're going to look around and go, "Oh, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Oh, we were all just guessing for a long time.
We interpreted that way wrong.
Yeah, we were way off on what that was supposed to be, and we caused a lot of problems by screwing that up, didn't we? Why didn't a judge step up?
Provided a lot of opportunity. I won't deny.
Totally. Again, served a purpose for a very long time, a very important purpose. A lot like the NCAA. Served a very important purpose. You wouldn't have a Caitlin Clark if there hadn't been Title IX. I shouldn't say it like that, but she would not have had those opportunities. It wouldn't have had the limelight. I don't think the WNBA exists without Title IX. It did wonderful stuff. It's been misinterpreted and misapplied for a long time, in my opinion. And I think that's what we're going to have is a referendum on that. Dude, there's so much to this conversation, but we primarily are talking about the money part of it. Institutions of higher learning have fallen way behind the curve in a lot of ways. And it comes across as extremely greedy when you break it down. All of this stuff is crazy expensive. It used to be, we had this conversation with your brother-in-law over the weekend. It used to be that if you wanted to get smart, you wanted to learn about something, you had to find the people that knew that information. Then you had to spend time with those people to learn that information. That's what an education was. You went to these institutions to be around the people that were learned and they could share that information with you. That's why you paid a lot of money to these huge institutions. What are we doing now? Why do we pay for books at a college?
Why are last time I paid for one, but you'll find it online.
Right. Like most of the information. And again, it doesn't mean it's worthless, doesn't mean it shouldn't have a cost to it. Dude, when you say the $30 million, it's a spending issue.
All right, we got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. Brian Harden, the athletic director at Drake, going to join us just after 7 o'clock. We'll talk about the implications of the House settlement for Drake. Then Brian Duax from Central City Liquors joining us at 7:30. It is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Your house wasn't built for bats, birds, or raccoons, but try telling them that. At Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions, we've been helping Iowans take back their homes for over 20 years. We use cost-effective, eco-friendly methods to solve wildlife and pest problems the right way. Whether it's bats in your attic, birds in the vents, raccoons in your chimney, or moles in your yard, we have long-term solutions. Call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400, and let's make sure your home doesn't become their home.
Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus, and I wanted to share our Lexus Summer Signature event. Now through July 6th, you can get $100 off a set of 4 tires, $65 off genuine Lexus battery, $25 off a set of brake pads, and $10 off Lexus genuine wiper blades. The school year is coming to an end, which means summer is right around the corner, and so are the deals at Willis Lexus. Visit us online at willislexus.com or give us a call to schedule your appointment. Thank you and have a great summer.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Back like a rash you thought was gone. Travis and Ross aren't contagious, but they are addictive. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the show. If you're listening on the audio stream at therushladio.com or on the Android Rush Radio Show app, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. If you're watching on YouTube, we know they're listening in Thibodaux, Louisiana, because Jason told us that earlier. Hit that subscribe button. Give the subscribe button. Like the video. Start leaving your comments in the comment section. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, we were talking about the House settlement and the implications that came down on Friday. So schools that have been preparing for this for the last several months should be ready to hit the ground running on July 1st. But it's also going to have an implication, I believe, and I think Ross believes too, to, the smaller institutions like Drake. And that's why I thought, you know what, we need to talk to Brian Harden. So let's interrupt Brian Harden's vacation and have him come on the show this morning. Where are you at this morning, by the way, Brian?
I'm in Avalon, New Jersey this morning. So, yeah.
Is that vacation?
Well, we'll find out. Today's our first full day. But yeah, so my wife's family, like every other year, like they'll choose some different spot to kind of take a whole group to. So we got 13 of us in a house here on the southern end of the Jersey Shore. I'm looking for JWoww and The Situation and Snooki and all the folks from that great MTV show back in the day. I think they're more probably towards New York, though. This is probably more like a Philadelphia crowd. We flew into Philly yesterday. Great nonstop flight that Des Moines offers, and hung out in Philadelphia during the day with the kids. Took them to see the Liberty Bell and some of those things that
cool.
Part of our past and our history. And then we came over here, and so we've got a group of 5 of my in-laws from Indianapolis. We got a group from Colorado, and so we all relocated out here for this week. So
see, I'm an Iowa guy. You say New Jersey, and I think like it's more Philadelphia in my head than Jersey Shore. But when you said Avalon, New Jersey, I'm like, are you in trouble? Do you need help?
That's right. Yeah, when I think Jersey, I think like Sopranos. I think things it's probably more North Jersey. I'm guessing more outside of New York City. But yeah, this is nice. I mean, we're just a couple blocks from the beach, and so we walked over there yesterday and kind of checked things out. We'll go into town here today, and it'll be great. It'll be fun for all the cousins to hang out for a bit, and then being able to jump on with you two guys here today also provides a great break from all the action.
So yeah, because at least it's 8 o'clock there, not 7 o'clock. We didn't get you out of bed too early. No. But of course, Friday night before you left, the House settlement comes down, and we've all been preparing for this. It was just now the judge delayed it a lot longer than I thought she would. I thought, man, she's going to wait till like the last day of June to do this. But, the big question for me isn't what happens to the big schools, because they got money flowing in left and right. how have you prepared for the House settlement, and at what point do you say, hey, we're going to play in this game or we're not going to play in this game?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us, which is what was going to happen with the roster limits. I mean, as a private institution that depends heavily on tuition dollars, we needed to know kind of what that was going to look like. We knew that we needed to get into that space at some point, but if the roster limits were going to be so strict that we were going to have to tell Joe Woodley, hey, you can't have 127 guys in your football team like you want to. You got to have 105. Like that would have a significant impact on his roster right away, but also on the overall bottom line of our institution to say, hey, we're going to take away 22. And in our case, those are full paying student athletes. I mean, those are folks because we're a non-scholarship football program. And so that's real money to a school like Drake. And so we were positioned to sit out the first year or so while we essentially drew down our rosters in some of our sports, namely football, soccer, volleyball, to get to that roster cap number that had been outlined in the House settlement terms. While we were bringing down those rosters, we were going to build up rosters primarily like track and field and rowing because we were under what the roster cap was. So we needed to have 375 total student athletes at Drake to really kind of make the level of institutional support to our department still worthwhile to them. Well, so we had kind of gone into it saying, well, we'll just kind of sit here, we'll just kind of monitor the landscape, and we'll prepare ourselves, for a year or so down the road when we can naturally move into that space because with the roster limits. Well, then when Judge Wilkin really kind of pushed back aggressively on the A4 on this notion of grandfathering in student athletes, making sure that there are some who didn't lose their roster spot, that's when we started to kind of change our thought process, thinking, all right, if this ends up happening, this may provide an avenue for us to jump into this in year one. And that's certainly where we find ourselves here today, where that's because she created the grandfather piece, we now can jump in with we can carry 127 on Joe's football roster and still opt in and not be penalized for it. So I think what we've spent the last few weeks is really trying to figure out, what does this new term designated student athlete mean? Where does the opportunities present itself for a school like Drake to kind of be in here? And then what does that mean for the future of our collective? And then trying to find ways, what does that look like? So that's where we've kind of have devoted a lot of our time and attention over the last month or so.
As a private institution, I would have assumed that you were excluded from some of this stuff. Like the roster limits is one of those things, Brian. I guess I just thought as a private institution, you guys can have as many people as you want to have on the roster.
No, not the case. Yeah, so it's permissive legislation that it's required for all A4 schools. So Big Ten, SEC, ACC, Big 12, all of them, public or private, have to be in. And then for all the other NCAA schools, it's permissive legislation, meaning we can opt in if we choose to. But if we opt in for one piece, we're in for the whole thing. We can't selectively choose. It can't be like, well, hey, the new limits say that you can have 15 men's basketball and 15 women's basketball student athletes. We're only going to be involved in the shared revenue space in those two sports. Therefore, only the roster limits in those two sports apply to us. That's not how it works. And so if you stick your toe in the water for one of them, you have to make sure that all of your programs follow the rules.
Wow. Okay.
So you talk about revenue share. You can spend $20.5 million if you want. And, Greg McDermott was on right when you hired your head coach to talk about him. And he's like, I basically, I can spend as much money as I want. There's no way they're going to spend $20.5 million. $20.5 million is probably close to your athletic budget. Maybe a little bit lower, a little bit. Is it lower or higher?
It's more.
It's more. I mean, how much revenue share will you be able to provide? Are you going to have to rely on the collective more, which gets us into fair market value type situations? I mean, will you share revenue, or is it like, guys, there's just no revenue to share?
Yes. Yes, we will share revenue, and yes, there's no money to share. So it is. Yeah, it's one of those things where we'll be creative and kind of what this looks like. And so you're right. First of all, the $20.5 million is more than our entire budget. So I've had folks say, "Oh, this is what a great day." Like I had like one of our long donors or trustees. He's like, "Oh, how do you plan on spending the $20.5 million?" I'm like, "Oh, are you going to be allocating $20 million more for us to go out there and try to find. Like that's more than our entire budget. So no, that won't be the space. But I told folks, like, we have to find a way to be in this game, and everything is relative to our peers. Like we're not in the space with Iowa and Iowa State. We don't have to find the $15 million to spend on our football roster like those two schools do, because that'll be the minimum going rate for schools in those programs. That's not where we need to be in. We don't live in that neighborhood. But what I've told our folks is we don't have to have the nicest house on the block, but we got to live on that street. And we got to find a way to what does that look like for us? So relative to our peers, whether it's Missouri Valley Conference, whether it's those mid-major pluses in terms of identifying kind of what schools those are from different conferences, I feel like we've got a pretty good plan in place for that. And there's still some things we need to iron out in terms of, to your point, Travis, like is that something that we go through the collective and understand some of the challenges that could face ourselves with Deloitte and the range of compensation and what that looks like? Does it mean something that we end up shifting funds from the collective of 501c3 and move that into our house and bring everything in-house and do it that way? Will it be some combination of those? So those will be some things that we will quickly iron out here in the coming days and weeks. I actually learned about the House Summit being passed on Friday night from Ryan Boatman, who runs our collective. And he texted me. I was at MediaCom Stadium on Friday watching the last game of the high school boys state soccer championships, which we hosted there at MediaCom, which crowds were amazing. And again, another great perk of having that stadium on our campus was hosting 4 great state title games. But he texted me saying, hey, Friday night news dump, just because I had predicted it'd be a Friday night news dump, but I was off by 2 weeks. I thought it would be the Friday going into Memorial Day weekend. It would be a great time for this news to break. But sure enough, yeah. So that's I'm quickly on my phone reading through kind of what does this mean? What did she say? And 76-page opinion, trying to breeze through while watching the Johnston Valley soccer game on Friday
breeze
night.
Through.
But yeah, but Ryan and those guys, they've been on it. My point that I'm making is that Ryan, the leaders of our collective have been aware of this. We've been working in concert for a bit on what this could look like. There are some steps that they need to kind of go through with their board. So I'll respectfully allow them to kind of go through that. But I feel pretty good about where we will be positioned here moving forward relative to our peers.
So we talked about this before you came on, and let's just use a point guard. And not a big name. Let's just use a point guard. Is there a tiered system where Deloitte said, and you may not know this yet, but do they say a point guard at Iowa State has better value than a point guard at Drake, and therefore, well, that's not fair market value at Drake, but it's fair market value at Iowa State, which I think is ridiculous, because the only person who determines fair market value is what somebody's willing to pay, right? I mean, that's fair market value in my book. Call me a free society libertarian that way, but I mean, that's so. How does that work?
Yeah, that's kind of my rough understanding. I think one thing. I think the term fair market value is going to get phased out. I think that the new term range of compensation will be utilized. And so they'll say, okay, what is the range of compensation that someone could earn? And I do think that there will be a sliding scale based off of kind of what piece of laundry you wear. Does your laundry say Iowa State? Does it say Drake? Does it say Georgia? Whatever it is. And there will be some sliding there. And that is going to just be ripe for some lawsuits. I mean, that's because your point is right, that your value is what somebody else is willing to assign to you. And so, we are not far removed from some school out there, having to submit their information, having it be declined, and then we'll see where it takes. I'm skeptical about it. I think it's an important next step, because I've been telling folks, just tell me what the rules are. Like we will figure it out here, and we'll adjust. But we just can't continue to wait for this ruling to come out. Now we got something great. All right, we can respond to it now. But your piece is very well taken, and that will be something that will unfold here in the coming weeks and months ahead for sure.
You've said this word a couple times, and I'm wondering how you've done it. And maybe your last answer there kind of describes it a little bit. You've talked about preparing for this stuff. How do you prepare for it? And how close were your predictions on preparation to what your actual evaluation of that 74-page opinion were?
Well, we're not into it yet. There's going to be some
Okay.
unintended consequences
Yeah.
that will come out of this. And there will always be our history within college athletics, just as an industry, is that we like to work together to speak in theory about what we want, what will work best for everyone. And then once the rules are out there, everyone is racing to exploit what loopholes there are. What does that look like? And how do we find out what that is? And, to some degree, might not be too much different, because there's certainly some pieces in here and how some of the terms are defined. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. That could provide an opportunity for some period of time for us to at least to kind of explore what that could be. So I think that it will be good. It's something different. I was reading one of my colleagues at a different school talk about how this is one of the biggest change. This is the biggest change that's happened in college athletics since Title IX. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I hope that they're right. So preparing for it, it's been taking some of our staff members trying to figure out what this looks like. I think a lot of it too is just being realistic about knowing who we are and who we aren't. What are we able to do, and just having honest conversations. When you had a head coaches meeting a couple of weeks ago, I was very transparent about kind of what our budget is. And this is here's how we're budgeted. Here's how we raise money. Here's how we spend money. You're going to find that, we spend a lot of time focusing on both basketballs and Drake relays because they raise a lot of money for it.
Right.
That is the rising tide that lifts all the boats. And when those do really well, all of us can do really well. So as we get into this new era, we may have to think a little bit differently about how we, position certain stuff. And, but we're doing so with the best interest of our department, of our institution in mind here, our student athletes, coaches, and staff. So that's kind of what I always kind of come back to. What is our North Star, and try to make sure that we don't lose sight of it.
Well, it's self-awareness, right? You have pretty good self-awareness is what you're talking about. You must listen to the show a lot, because we use the term unintended consequences a lot.
Yeah.
Like collectives were unintended consequences of NIL, right? I mean, that was,
Yes.
You're like, who would have thought of that? Now, I'm going to ask you a question that is maybe counter to what everything has happened before, because you think of the A4 or the power schools, and I can see a time when they go, okay, everything. If the NCAA says you don't need to have 15 sports to remain Division I, they just, okay, you're all clubs. You mentioned that football is a revenue generator for the university because they're full paying students. Is there a case where Drake could add sports because of that model to bring in additional dollars to the university? So instead of detracting, expand for more, almost. Look at Grandview. Grandview just puts a sport out there just to bring people in. It's like,
and then turning them into national champions.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Troy's got the golden touch over there. I mean, they like, what do we want to win a title in next? Okay, we're gonna go add that sport now.
But in all seriousness, though, when you have people paying tuition, would there ever be a case where you would add sports to go, okay, we can keep this fairly regional just to get people to pay tuition? Or is that not a good model?
No, it works. I mean, you certainly see that Division III wise. You certainly see I do think there's going to be the future of college athletics will look a little bit different in some places. I think you'll see programs that are revenue generating in terms of ticket sales, sponsorships. You're going to see a huge investment in that space. And then I think there will be some other sports where schools will look at it and say, okay, we need this to be revenue generating for the institution. Because maybe we need to be receiving some type of support from them that we haven't in the past. And so therefore we're going to turn this back over in the form of tuition dollars. And we're just going to ask maybe to kind of skim some of that with you, and be able to, so you may see maybe a reduction in scholarships in some sports to account for new tuition dollars. You may see new sports be added to bring new people onto campus, especially as we have this cliff of high school graduates occurring starting next year. Trying to find new ways to get students onto campus is going to be critical. We're adding a whole bunch of club sports at Drake. That's an area that we're kind of leaning into, is this premium club sports. And so that's been led by Jerry Parker, our dean of students, to kind of find ways to, what does that look like? And so we've had some success a little bit with Drake hockey. We've had some success, with our club volleyball
Drake
program.
hockey? There's Drake hockey? I had no idea.
Yeah. Drake hockey, they play with the Recplex. They're going to be part of the new arena there at Merle Hay. We're adding a women's flag football team. So there are some of these programs that are going to be club. They're going to be meant to bring students to Drake. That it's not far-fetched to say, hey, in the next decade,
love it.
maybe some of those move up into become a varsity sport because of the reasons that you just pointed out, Travis. So I do think that there's a space for some schools to think of it from a growth mindset standpoint, as opposed to just trying to, watch solely the bottom line by cutting costs to get there.
So like Iowa State has club hockey. Does the Drake club hockey team play Iowa State club hockey?
Yeah, I mean, so there's like various levels of club hockey.
Okay.
And
I didn't
so,
know this.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to dive down a rabbit hole, check out some of these club hockey websites and see kind of what they're doing. These kids are crazy, man. They love their sport, they love their school, they're in it for all the right reasons. They've got a good following. So I think that the club sport program has got a really bright future to it.
So because of all this stuff, if you had to be in more meetings like with the president and the provost and all the money, like it used to be, you just sit in your nice athletic office, you're like, we're doing athletic. Now, because of the money situation, it's like, you're just in meetings all the time.
That cushy, relaxed job you used to have, Brian.
Yeah, I still sit back with my feet on my desk, smoking a stogie, just kind of letting things go, and that's the life of the Drake athletic director.
Yeah.
You know that.
Super easy.
Actually, I'll say I've not been in more meetings about this with Marty and Sue, our president and provost. They've been really great about giving me the space to kind of carve out what needs to be done here. And so and some of that probably is because they've got their own fires to put out and trying to figure out a variety of things on their end. But they've been really good about just allowing me to kind of go do my thing. And so I've partnered I've got friends from around the country that I'll call and kind of get advice from. I've got a friend of mine who, when I used to work with the Chicago Bears, that's going to help me in some spaces when it comes to, developing contracts for student athletes and doing some stuff, because he was a big salary cap guy and kind of has cornered the market on some of the stuff. So I feel good about kind of where we're at. And a lot of it's because, we've got a great team around us and we've been allowed to kind of do things that are going to help our department, understanding that, it's also going to help the institution.
Help us understand. And because again, big school, medium school, is the NCAA necessary anymore? What exactly outside of athletics does the NCAA do? And is the NCAA around in 10 or 15 years?
It certainly seems like the power is shifting to conferences. There's always going to be, well, I shouldn't say always, there is still a need for someone to run championships and someone to run enforcement. Now, the enforcement piece could be shifting here with this new College Sports Commission. So we kind of see what that looks like. But yeah, and then also distribution of revenue. And that's the other piece the NCAA is big on, because from the CBS contract for the men's basketball tournament. So yeah, running championships, someone's got to be able to put that on, being able to disperse revenue, and then be able to get everyone to collectively agree to a set of rules and then to enforce them. That's kind of where they're at right now. So as long as there's a need for championships to be run and disbursement of revenue, then the NCAA will have a place in it. But it does certainly feel like the power is shifting to institutions, to conferences, and it's, we're all kind of bound together through this liability of the House settlement, the $2.78 billion that will, supposedly keep us together for the next 10 years. It's a critical time probably in our history to kind of figure out what this looks like, because there are two leagues that are kind of pulling away from everyone else, and there's two others that are desperately trying to hang on to that and kind of see what that looks like. And then there's another gap then to those other 5 or 6 football FBS leagues that are under the delusion that they are still competing for the same championship that those top 2 or 4 leagues are. And then there's everybody else that plays, lower level football or doesn't have football at all, but are Division I for the basketball tournament. And that's kind of the breakdown and tiers of our 350 institutions at the Division I level. Then you get into the whole Division II, Division III piece, where there's many more schools and many more athletes that are getting a tiny fraction of the TV money from basketball. So this is a long-winded question to say, that's a tumultuous time period, and kind of what the next 3, 5, 10 years look like. I'm not willing to predict it, but I certainly know that there are some challenges, and there probably are some commissioners, some athletic directors, some schools that have different motivations than a lot of others out there for what they feel is best.
Start writing your book yet? I think you should write a book.
So some of the chapters would be amazing. If I could just this whole time period from here would be great. Combined with some of my experiences and stories from days at Notre Dame and some of the other folks, like, oh my God, like some of the stuff that people have said and what we've witnessed, like, holy smokes, like what have I gotten myself into? But it's all good though. I mean, it's funny to be able to be in a spot here and we're doing it the right way. Like we're having more success now as a department than ever in my time here. And I won't say Drake's history, but certainly in my 7.5 years here to kind of go through what we've been able to do and have ourselves be one of the top departments in our league while also maintaining an incredible grade point average for our student athletes. We're showing that you can be good in academics and in athletics. We're not just choosing one lane or the other, and we're producing really strong students, and our coaches are having great success, and some of them are getting opportunities to go to other spots and lead programs. So it's been awesome, and we've had great support, and I think that that's going to continue.
Excellent stuff.
I'm both happy you're on vacation and sad for you that you get to relax a little bit, but you also at the same time aren't going to.
I've got a call here in 35 minutes with a vendor who's trying to sell some stuff here to help us with navigate this landscape. We got a couple other meetings that I'll break away from the group. It's it's not the worst thing to selectively.
You just triggered Ross. You just triggered him because you said you got a sales call with a vendor who's all Ross sees is it's always somebody's trying to make money off something, right? They're like, oh, well, we can help you navigate this.
But this is smart for people to reach out because Brian just said all this stuff. Like, man, we're going into this world that we don't understand. I'm reaching out to my friend with the Bears to help me with contracts. So, yeah, it's smart for an attorney to reach out and go, hey, I write contracts for a living. I'll help you with that piece. You just cut me in. Let me wet my beak a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, there's a lot of folks out there that are realizing that there's a ton of unsophisticated people in the world like myself who are now being thrust into positions we've never been in before. So, hey, let's help this dummy Brian and his crew kind of figure out what this looks like.
And I don't blame them. I'm being very clear here. This is the stuff, the unintended consequences.
Right. And so that who are we going to, who do we want to associate ourselves with? And so a lot of it is just kind of, we get on these calls and it's like any other interview. We're evaluating character and competency. What does that look like? What do they know? And are they folks that we trust? So it's all good.
Glad you're clear-headed about it, man. You look good. I'm glad again, maybe this is you're on vacation part of it, right? You get to
could be. Yeah. And maybe I'll just stay here. Maybe this New Jersey thing is going to be, I'm just going to set the home office here and we're just going to work remote for
He can do this every day. He goes, he can run the Drake Athletic Department from the Jersey Shore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it'll actually be better for me to stay out of the department. I mean, we've got better folks there who actually will run the day-to-day. I only get in the way. So this actually, there are plenty of folks who may watch us in our department and be like, yes, please stay the hell out of here. Like,
buddy, I guarantee you everybody's glad that you're there to be able to handle this and navigate it. So thanks.
You say that today. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Brian, enjoy this Jersey Shore, enjoy the family time, and we'll catch up before the end of the summer. All right.
Sounds good, boys. Appreciate it.
Brian Harden joining us on the Rush Radio Show. Level-headed about it, man. Just calm, cool, collected.
Travis, I thought for sure you were going to core in on it, but that thing that you taught me, you got to worry about the things you can control. And a lot of that conversation was that. A lot of that was Brian basically saying, like, we're reacting to stuff. We try to prepare as much as we can. We worry about the things we can control. We had to dissect this thing on a Friday night while I'm on vacation with the family. We're still trying to figure it out. We went from telling the football coach, who's a huge part of our revenue driver, if not the primary source of revenue driver, going to get 125 kids to come in and play football, pay to play football here. Wait. Hold that. Okay, now go.
And think about that. You're talking, 20 scholarship or 20 players at $60,000 each? I mean, that's a significant hit in revenue if you have to do that. 515-517-2303. So we're going to go from one Brian to another Brian. Brian Duax from Central City Liquors joins us next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Don't you hate when you're on a road trip and you want to stop somewhere to get something to eat, but you need to take a look at the menu first? Here at Willis Nissan, we decided to implement some menus to make servicing your car easier and more efficient. Our menu offers good, better, and best packages based off of your mileage of your vehicle. And we're offering 10% off the entire menu for the month of June if you mention this ad. Feel free to make an appointment at willisnissan.com or walk on in and make sure that your car is ready for the road trips that you're going on this summer.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Looking for the perfect golf escape? Experience links-style golf right here in Ames at Coldwater Golf Links. With rolling fairways, large greens, and unique routing, it's golf the way it's meant to be played. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, you'll love our course's welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. Grab your clubs, book a tee time, and make every round unforgettable. Coldwater Golf Links, where great golf leads to great memories. Visit coldwatergolf.com to book your round today.
Hi, I'm Sean McFarland, Service Manager at Mini of Des Moines. School is out and summer is here. Before you hit the road for your motoring adventures, visit us for your oil changes, get your AC checked out, or make sure your tires are roadworthy. Give us a call to schedule or visit us online at miniofdesmoines.com.
Back to the Rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
You know, Ross and I love the 4th of July. You got grilling, cold beer, and, of course, fireworks. We want to send you to the Iowa Fireworks Farm where they have a bumper crop of boomers at dirt cheap prices, ladies and gentlemen.
Super
the Iowa Fireworks Farm.
Sorry, buddy. I thought your pausing was super easy to get down there, too, guys. Just about 25 minutes south of the metro, straight south on I-35. When you get down to the New Virginia exit, you're going to find the Iowa Fireworks Farm, a 6,000 square foot warehouse that has tons of products, but then not only that, you can preview a lot of them. You walk right up to them, and you're going to be able to see exactly what it is that you're going to be setting off there on the 4th of July when you're celebrating your freedom.
So each week we're going to be giving away a $50 gift card to the Iowa Fireworks Farm, and we want to congratulate Drew Cronin. Drew Cronin won our $50 gift certificate last week. So Drew, you get to pick up $50 for the fireworks. Trust me, you're going to spend more than 50, but we're going to take 50 off for you because it's that enjoyable. And then right by the 4th of July, we're going to give away our grand prize winner, which is The Godfather, which is a $700 mega pack that'll blow your mind. So don't miss out. Go to therushradio.com, click the promotions tab, put in your name, your email address, and your telephone number, and get registered to win a $50 gift card and The Godfather mega pack just by going to therushradio.com. If you want to see more of the fireworks at the Iowa Fireworks Farm, go to iowafireworksfarm.com. Bells and whistles, right, Ross? Bells and whistles. We like bells and whistles. And speaking of bells and whistles, you see him every day on the Rush Radio Show, or you hear him, depending on whether you're listening on the audio stream or if you're watching on YouTube. One of the most recognizable guys out there, Brian Duax from Central City Liquors. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm recognizing.
No, it's a great thing.
Okay. All
it's
right.
25. That's not you, but that's your. We always get people in there going, it's 25, or okay, maybe medium class.
As soon as the commercials start, the chat starts going, it's 25. It's 20.
They make me chuckle every time I hear it on your show. Every time.
You know, and you guys cut those commercials. They're probably dated, but they're so good they could just run all the time. It's like, oh, we'll just keep doing that.
They're great.
Those are the best ones out there.
Well, in my creative source, Tony Hoffman, who used to work for, I don't even remember the radio company, he moved to Indianapolis. So my creative source for those commercials is kind of gone. And then his right-hand man no longer works for the company either. So I haven't made any commercials in probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a pack of cigarettes is still like $5 on there. So you're like, okay.
That's not the case anymore.
yeah. Now it's like 11. I remember when my dad used to send me downtown to buy a carton of Old Gold. Here's a 9-year-old walking into the grocery store going, I need a carton of Old Gold. They never questioned anything, but it was like, oh, $12 for a carton?
Not anymore.
No.
Now it's 100.
People ask,
are you serious? Is a carton of cigarettes $100?
Oh, pretty close.
Wow.
Yeah.
People ask about Nickel all the time also.
Nickel's good. Nickel's getting old, but she's
Yeah.
good. She's still, every once in a while, my father, God love him, just lets her run, and she's still got a little bit of hood in her and just runs around.
Got a little bit of hood in her.
Well, do you know that story, Travis?
No.
So we caught Nickel. Nickel was just a wandering dog down by the liquor store for like a year and a half. And me and Thomas would feed her, give her treats. And then he went on vacation one day for 10 days. And I go, when you get back, you're going to have a new dog. And sure as shit, I caught the dog, took her to my house, my vet, got her spayed, got all the shots, got all that fun stuff. Then she escaped from my backyard in Ankeny. And at this point, she's very hood dog. She ran. We chased her around Ankeny. It took 3 trank darts to bring her back down.
I'm telling you, it never stops. This is great.
So, and then we caught her, and she was a Central City dog. She stayed at the warehouse forever. And then my father again was on vacation, and the Johnson Brothers truck, he grabbed her leash, accidentally threw it over the wheel well, and drug her from the wholesale store to the retail store.
And still survived.
And that's it's only a couple blocks, just so people know, right?
It's still a long way.
I don't mean to downplay it. I just wanted people to have a visual, and across University or across Second Avenue.
Correct. Now, granted, when he comes, it's 5 a.m, so there's really very little traffic. But still, I think it was 62 staples, stitches, and like 8 days in the vet over there on Merle Hay.
You've invested a lot of money in a stray dog.
Well, yes, and
but that's
Johnson Brothers did the right thing. Johnson Brothers showed up with that credit card immediately and took care of that bill. But and then that day, he was on vacation. He comes back, and I go, guess what? Good news, bad news. Your dog's still here. She's a home dog now, and she's lived in Waukee with my father ever since.
Wow, I just pictured a dog being drugged by a car at 1462nd Avenue. People on the street going, only in this neighborhood. Only in this neighborhood.
That driver was devastated. I have yet to see that driver ever again. He's a good dude. I've seen him, but he has yet to come back as a delivery driver to Central City. And he didn't mean to. It was a complete accident.
Yeah.
But he felt awful. And, it's 5 a.m. He calls me, hey, I just drug your dog up the street. And I'm like, uh-oh. So I come up, and she is bleeding everywhere, and I picked her up and drove her over to, what is it called, Blue whatever over there on Merle Hay. And, yep, it was a bad day, but turned out all good. She's now got a home in Waukee and spoiled rotten.
I think we need to have you on once a month just to do stories from Central City Liquors.
We can do that. I keep trying to pitch it to you guys. We need to get a reality show. We got new cameras in the store now with audio. I think a reality show like Pawn Stars for Central City Liquor would
be killer. It'd be unbelievable. Bruno has said that. I've said this. You can go and stand inside the store for 10 minutes and you're going to see something. You're going to go, wow.
Yes.
Wow. And they deal with it all the time. And you watch Dana and Todd for about 3 minutes and you go, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the end of June, we're just going to do it once a month. Stories from Central City Liquors. We're going to mark it down. It's like it'd be like the first Monday or last Friday. That we'll do something.
Yeah.
But I think that hell, the nickel story is a good enough story for me to start this off. So
yeah,
that's beautiful. And I'm sure owning a liquor store that has bars on the window, you have more than enough stories to tell for the next 2 years.
Some of them would be dated, but yeah. There's new stories all the time. It just depends how crazy and rated we want to become.
And rated. I do see some new stuff on the wall behind. There's something behind you there. What's that little
I'm
brace
trying to
thing?
show it to you. So
Okay.
the Todd father, as I like to call him, Todd, who runs this store, for the last 5 years, we've done one big auction and gotten rid of all of our highly allocated stuff. Todd and me are both of the opinion we want these bottles to go to people who are actually going to open them and drink them and not resell them on the secondary market. And we found that doing that big auction gets a lot of people who last year I had to go yell at a guy because he was selling it by the time he got to the parking lot. So we're going to come up with this new idea. You see that big old red light in front of us or behind me?
Yeah.
That's going to go off 4 times a day.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what time it is. Todd's got it programmed. It's going to go off for 4 minutes. So you can't call your wife, your friend, your girlfriend, your buddy, your whoever, and say, get down here right now, because there's not going to be enough time. So if you happen to be in the store today, starting Father's Day week, we're selling, what are those 3? An Elijah Craig 18, a Blanton straight from the barrel, a George T. Stagg, and a 1792 foolproof. Those are the 4 options today. And this alarm's going to go off 4 times today. And if you're in the store, you get the chance to buy one of them. If you're not, sorry.
So now, will it be discounted or is it still full price?
It's still full price. We're not going to. I mean, let's be honest.
But again, these are bottles that are not available for purchase on a regular basis, Travis. I mean, Elijah Craig 18.
I know. The Blanton's out of the barrel is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, and what we've done for the last 4 or 5 years is we just save all these and then we do that big auction. Well, we've got a good pile of these sitting back there. And the other day I said, Todd, why don't we turn some of those back into money? And this is what the Todd father came up with.
The Todd father. I love it.
So you're bringing back flashbacks. Now, I'm older than both of you, but you guys should be able to remember this. I look at that and I go, it's just all you're doing, and it's brilliant because I remember going to Kmart, right? And it'd be the blue light special.
Blue light
all
special.
You'd be like, attention Kmart shoppers. And then you look for the flashing blue light and you'd go get on that deal. You just have the red light special, which does not involve hookers, but it is.
No.
It
No.
Does not.
But you have the red light special. I like. Now, will it just be a blinking light, or do you have a siren? No, don't do a siren because half your customers would run out of the out of the store.
It does have a siren, but it's not a very loud siren. You can hear it if you're in the store. My father said, "Why don't we put that red light outside and make it like there's cops here?" And I go, "No, that's a bad. One, I don't know if that's legal, and 2, that's a bad idea."
Love it. Love it. I think it's a wonderful idea, Brian. I think that when you sent us this over the weekend, I've shared it with a few friends and said, man, this is cool. Creative idea.
Now, are you worried about loitering? Because some people may come in and just wait all day long.
They may. And at that point, if they're just sitting around doing nothing for many hours, I'm guessing Ross can tell you what Todd will do to her.
I know. I've been there. Yeah.
I mean, if the goal,
Central City Liquors.
the goal of this is to get people in the store.
Yes.
I've told forever, all the advertising I do, I want to get people in the store. Once I get them in here once, typically they're mine forever because we have such better selection than everybody else. But the problem is they think we're in the hood. They think that stupid things could happen. These stories. You are safe coming in here. 1, because our customers are perfectly respectful. And then 2, Todd won't take any shit. So if there is a problem, Todd's going to take care of it. And you won't have to worry about it.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. All right. Do you have an update on our single barrel?
I do not. So here's how it works with any special order in Iowa. So we did the tasting. I put in the order for it. I won't know anything until the day before it gets delivered to me. That's, the ABD and their total transparency it's really fantastic. So I will continue talking to the reps about getting updates of when it's coming. Typically I get an update of when it's going to ship, which should give us, 5 or 6 days, 7 days to get you guys here to do a live shoot as we sell that barrel at 6 a.m, and it'll be the cowbell will be ringing repeatedly at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Do we know what that's going to retail for yet?
I don't know. So again, total transparency, until I get that invoice, I don't. I want to say it's probably going to be between $60 and $80.
Okay.
Because again, we don't, there are stores that put a ridiculous margin on some of this stuff. We're not one of them. We just want people to enjoy it and drink it. We just don't want people to flip it and be the reseller on the market that's driving bourbon, through the roof.
I love it.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you say it that way because Keith Kirchhoff's a friend of mine, and I have like a batch 1, barrel 3 of Templeton, right? And it's never been open. I go, Keith, how much is this worth? He goes, the bottle's worth a nickel. You know, I mean, he's like, you're supposed to drink it. You're not supposed, I mean, and that's all. He goes, bottle's worth a nickel. And then he goes, that's about all it's worth.
And you're going to pee it out tomorrow morning if you drink it. So it really doesn't matter.
Oh, good stuff. So the red light special 4 times a day, and it's going to be random every day. So like today, tomorrow's times will be different than today's times.
Absolutely. The Todd father has thought about what the guys are going to try and do. If they figure out what time it's going to run, they're all going to be here at that time. So it's randomized, 7 different random times, 7 different days, and it'll go until we're out of this stuff. And that could be weeks, months. We'll definitely have enough to get through Father's Day, which would be, I believe, this Sunday.
Yes. Yes.
Love it, buddy.
Good
stuff.
Keep it up.
Maybe next week. So I leave for Kentucky Sunday. I'm going down and picking a Penelope, another Makers, a 1792 Foolproof, and a Weller 107 starting Monday morning. So
look at this guy.
Plenty more to come between now and December at Central City.
All right. And then we'll hook up by the end of the month for another Stories from Central City Liquors. So now you at night, you just got to start writing down your memories.
That's
and then
the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Well, I've got photos and videos. We can share some of those too.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, Brian. Thanks so much. Look for the red light going off 4 times today, and of course 4 times all week long. Good. And by the way, even if the red light doesn't go, he mentioned Father's Day. Get to Central City Liquors and buy your dad something. Really,
a gift certificate to Central City Liquors. You don't know what to get him? Get a gift certificate from Central City Liquors. Wonderful gift.
We've got more bottles on the shelf than these guys have ever seen. If you've never been into Central City, you're going to find stuff that you'll never see in other stores. That's what we do.
Yep. See you, buddy. Have
See
a great
buddy.
week.
All right, guys. Take care.
Ryan Duax joining us on the Rush Radio Show. Man, what a great idea. The red light special.
Bruno has said this from the day he started talking about Central City Liquors. He's like, this place is special. You're in there for a few minutes, and I've tried to tell people the same thing. I love going with people the first time they walk into that store, because you do have that thing of like, oh, I'm on 2nd Avenue. I'm on the north side of downtown. Like, oh, this is the sketchy. And you walk in, you're like, oh yeah, this is
the
is
only
great.
hard thing about it right now is the construction on 2nd Avenue.
Right.
Once that gets cleared up, I mean, the parking lot in the back is spectacular.
Right.
Now, Tony says got to do a weekly Central City story time. Weekly, I want it to be something you look forward to. So that's like, hey kids, we can have like the Mr. Rogers theme song is "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood." Look at Ross doing the Core Power vanilla, 26 grams of protein in his coffee. Now he's going to throw some Baileys in there that he got from Central City Liquors and make it an Irish coffee. Now people want a nickel shirt ASAP.
Listen, I think that the Central City merch is a great idea.
We need to get Todd a shirt in the Godfather script that says Todd Father on it. And Todd's the one going, it's 25. It's 25. And he's a badass, right? He is a badass.
Real deal.
When I walk in, I'm like, it's like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld. You just kind of walk up, hello, sir. Can you point me in the direction of the rum? Okay, thank you. You know, you don't want to say the wrong thing or Todd's going to snap at you. And he didn't care who I am. He didn't care who you are. He's just like, oh, okay, sir. Thank you, Todd Father.
It's a great story. And it's the tip of the iceberg. I'm telling you.
Man.
Be great.
What else going on? Anything?
Yeah, I got lots of stuff. So first of all, my buddy.
6 minutes.
We got about 6 minutes here.
6 minutes.
I see my buddy Dusty says he's down on vacation. He's down on the islands. He's gonna be up in Canada with me here in about a month. So the dude's just traveling the world. Congratulations, Dusty. Probably having coffee that doesn't suck this morning. Minnesota is the hockey state, right? The land of
hockey. Apparently Iowa's, because I didn't know Drake had a club hockey team. I learned that today.
And Iowa State has club hockey. Yeah. But then I learned that there are levels to club hockey.
I didn't know that either.
Drake club hockey can't play Iowa State club hockey because they ain't on that level.
I didn't know that. Maybe it's been around longer. You learn something new every day.
Apparently. NHL has been around a long time. Lord Stanley's Cup has been fought for a long time. It's a big deal in Minnesota. Not sure if you're aware. Last week, remember, we talked about game 1 going into overtime and ending with that dramatic goal.
Game 2 went to 2 overtimes.
Did you know that in parts of in Minneapolis, they had what was the movie that interrupted the Super Bowl?
Was that Heidi?
Heidi. There was a Heidi moment in game 1.
Was it the Super Bowl?
Or was it? Yeah, you're right. It was like a conference championship or something. But there was in the middle of a big game, the network switches over to the movie Heidi, and they miss this dramatic comeback. Dude, I did not know this till this morning. That happened in parts of Minnesota for game 1.
Shut up.
Dude, you're going to love this story. A freaking EAS test.
Oh, God.
This is from Fox9.com. Some Minnesota hockey fans missed the game-winning overtime goal that put Edmonton over Florida in the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals due to a weekly emergency test that cut into the broadcast. Puck dropped on Wednesday night between Florida and Edmonton. Game was still tied at 3 in overtime, less than a minute on the clock when Connor McDavid crossed center ice, weaved through the defense, and offered up the pass that led to the game-winning goal. Unfortunately, though, for hockey fans watching the game on cable or satellite in Minnesota, the goal came at the same time as an EAS test was conducted. The monthly test was conducted at different times, but always on the first Wednesday of the month in Minnesota, according to the EAS website. This one was scheduled for 10:44 p.m. According to a post from K-Fan producer Zach Halverson, the alert cut in just as the game-winning goal was scored. So, again, for those who don't know, like the EAS test, that is one of the FCC requirements of
which being outdated.
Oh, ridiculous. And then you've got to do it within a certain time frame once you schedule it. It's kind of like if you
can't mimic the sounds or you might get fired.
Which every broadcaster, I mean, that's like a part. We have to take these quarterly tests. We don't have to do that anymore.
Don't have to take the human resources.
Oh my God.
Thing.
Bill told
guests swear on the air.
Bill told Carolyn she'd done a nice job on her last presentation, and then she complimented her on the way her pants made her butt look. Where did Bill cross the line? What? Bill and Carolyn were at a business conference together. They went out for dinner afterwards. They decided to split the bill, and then Bill said, maybe we should also split our region and discuss price fixing. Where did Bill go over the line?
Bill and Mary went out for dinner and had drinks. Bill said, we should go upstairs and screw. Where did Bill cross the line?
They discussed recent advancements in their industry. And then Bill made advances on her industry. Where did Bill cross the line?
If you belong to a corporation, you've all had to watch these. The funny thing about the old place is they never changed the video. It was the same one year after year. I'm like, what are we doing here? And then you would put it on just play, and then it randomly stopped because you have to answer the question. You didn't have to listen to it. You knew what you knew what it was. God.
It literally would go, I'm not kidding you. This is not an exaggeration. One of the questions every 3 months or every 4 months was that every 3 months you had to take it. Which of the following tones is the EAS tone? I'm not joking. And then you would,
and by the way, everybody in the country could answer that question. Everybody in the country could answer that question.
one of the options was a dial tone. Am I joking about this,
No,
Travis?
You're not.
And then I, of course, this will surprise nobody, I would be the last one to actually, because I'd get the email like, Ross, hey, can you take the test by Tuesday? AD was always great. AD'd be like, dude, Ross, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting emails about how you haven't done this thing. Can you please just do the stupid test for me? Like, yeah, AD, I'm sorry. I will. But for the most part, it'd be like, Ross, you're the one person in the country. You got to do this. By end of business today, can you click on the right EAS tone for us? Our bosses are pissed off that you have not told them yet where Bill crossed the line.
Banging her in the closet. That's
where
he
it
crossed
was.
the line.
It was when he banged her in the closet.
The line.
Yeah. Like, So we don't have to do these stupid EAS tests anymore. So luckily,
we're good to go. We just
though
I don't think we can legally play those either.
That was no. That was the other one that I found a really fun article this morning on Golf Week, which is a USA Today subsidiary, about the upcoming US Open at Oakmont and how incredibly difficult Oakmont's greens are going to be this weekend for the US Open. This doesn't mean anything to me, but there's this thing called the stimp meter, right? That's how they read greens. They normally like for a tournament for the stimp meter to be around 11. It's going to be 14.5 to 14.9.
So save the rest of that story because there's something about the members. We'll do that tomorrow. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
We want to thank Brian Harden for joining us today. Very, very informational interview about Drake and its standing in the House settlement. Brian Duax for the Central City Stories, and get to Central City today. Look for the Red Light Special. You never know what kind of really good bourbon you're going to get. Ross, I'm going to hit the road. I will speak to you from where Crazy Horse was murdered back in 1880 or 27 tomorrow morning. All right.
Incredible. All right. Sounds good, buddy.
It is the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Hey everybody, Mason Miller, sales manager out here at Mini of Des Moines. We got some great things going on this month. Right now you can lease a brand new Countryman for as low as $369 a month for 39 months. Also, we're running a 3.99% at up to 60 on all models, excluding the convertible. Also, you can lease a new two-door hardtop as low as $299 a month lease. If you have any other questions, come visit your favorite motoring advisor or visit us online at miniofdesmoines.com.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Are you thinking about buying a home this year? Start by getting pre-approved with Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines to see how much you can qualify for and what loan programs meet your needs. Gary can get you pre-approved in 30 minutes or less with a pre-approval letter to you. Gary offers first-time homebuyers programs, VA loans along with FHA, IFA, and conventional loans. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Summer's here, and that means extra miles on your car. With road trips, summer activities, and more, stop in now and get a vehicle inspection to make sure your Land Rover is in the best shape possible. We'll even throw in $25 off an oil change. Give us a call or head online at LandRoverDesMoines.com to schedule your appointment today.
Bread is made from scratch, freshly baked with locally sourced ingredients and love. At Big Sky Bakery, we take great pride in our delicious products. We know you'll enjoy them almost as much as we enjoy baking them. Find us at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market every Saturday.
Back to the rush. Strong opinions, weak filters, and just enough sense to stay on the air. It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.